Hello and welcome back to another AI Reality Bytes with me, Amanda Prochaska. I'm so glad that you're here today. You know, one thing that I've been thinking about as we head into 2026 is all about really challenging some of our thought processes that we've had in the past and those that might need to shift dramatically or slightly as we head into the AI era. And one of those is all related to governance. A lot of our programs, even in the past, when we have governance models, all of these policies around technologies that we can and cannot use or how they should be used, they were often not operationalized effectively. So it really concerns me as we head into this new AI era, how quickly the technology is changing, and can our governance models keep up with that change. So we're going to dive into that here today because I think we really need to take a hard look at how this is going to come together in 2026. Now, in the fall, what prompted me to start thinking about this is that I started talking to procurement professionals who were buying a lot of AI solutions, and some of them were saying, hey, the governance model around these purchases and how these systems are going to be used and how the systems are going to use our data, et cetera, is not overly clear. So we had that camp of people like, hey, we're kind of flying blind here. We're not sure where we're going, how this is all going to come together. Then we had another camp of people who were like, hey, any AI purchase is not going anywhere right now because we haven't figured out our governance model, or our governance model is so strict that only a handful of projects are going through. So everything else is kind of stalling. So all of those marketing people who thought touting that they had AI isn't necessarily great because it's stalling them out in the decision-making process and trying to move through this very, at times, very heavy-handed governance process. Now, at the same time, these technologies, AI technologies, are becoming very user-friendly, what I would consider democratized, where anyone could go out and build an AI agent almost, and people are using them to get their work done, whether their corporation is telling them that they can do so or not. In fact, a lot of the free versions of the AI systems are better than the corporate sanctioned ones that have been allowed within a lot of these large organizations. I was just chatting with a friend and she's super frustrated. She's like, I'm trying to use these tools and they frankly are not good, and they're making it's causing me to waste more time versus just doing it myself, which is not great. If someone has that experience, they kind of get sideways with AI, which is unfortunate, but B, they're going to go look for something better, right? So how does this come together? And I'm not a huge fan of governance models to begin with, because honestly, I don't know how effective they've been in the past, but I do know that the old ways of working are probably not what is going to work with AI. The technology is moving way too quickly. It is way too inexpensive to get your hands on these products that work very, very well. So what do organizations do? There is a lot of risk here. So what I'm not advocating for anyone listening to this video is that you don't have governance. I think governance is needed, but it might be needed in a different way moving forward. So in the past, I would say that we've had governance as a policy, right? We get these committees put together. We have a process that people go through. We have maybe policies associated with that, but I don't think that process is going to work. I think what's going to work is maybe governance as code, governance as infrastructure, which might be an interesting way to think about this. So here's what I'm thinking. So it really represents this shift in how governance is conceptualized and implemented. Instead of having policy documents and having processes and all these committees that people must interact with and comply with, can we build this into our infrastructures within the AI so that it's almost like self-governing in a way, or that you're protecting your infrastructure for uses that you want your data, let's just say your data to be used for, your access to be allowed. So it is something like this: a policy stating that PII cannot be used for model training without explicit consent is a great statement. I think almost every company should have something along that way, but can you build it into your infrastructure where it becomes code so that you're scanning data sets, you're identifying PII, you are checking consent status, you are blocking unauthorized usage automatically within your systems. That governance then operationalizes your policy more effectively, because the technology is going to continue to grow at a very, very rapid pace. And just saying that you don't want people to use PII in unacceptable ways is not going to be good enough anymore. So that is one particular example. There's plenty of other examples that I could give you, but hopefully that hits it home. Now, here's the advantage of tool-based governance, okay? One, it operates at machine speed. So if you are making investments, if for whatever reason, like there's a study that just came out that said at least 50% of people in corporations, mostly in corporate America, are already using unauthorized AI to do their job. And then another 50% of that 50% said they will continue to use that unauthorized AI because it works better than what the corporate sanctioned AI has been. Okay, so you already have that. Number one offender, executives. I thought it was fascinating. I was like, okay, well, you have your executive teams that are going out there and exploring, which is great. But how do you keep up with that governance model? It needs to be built in as code, as part of your infrastructure to help protect you all moving forward. So great thing is it moves at machine speed. So if you have the right infrastructure, the right governance in the infrastructure, it's not going to be human driven. It is going to not be slow and reactive. It is going to incorporate your role-based real time into your infrastructure, which is great. It'll keep up with everything that's going on, unlike the past governance models. It is also consistent and predictable. You can monitor, you can report on it, you can understand if it's working and how it's being operationalized and where you have potential gaps moving forward. The governance is actually invisible to users, which takes out that human judgment, if you will. The 50% that are already breaking the rules, quote unquote, because of your old governance policies, now they can explore these new technologies, really leverage the nature of AI in the most effective ways, but still meet the governance criteria that you've built into your policies behind the scenes. So it does not allow the user to make the choice anymore, which I think is fundamentally the game changer here. It can scale without headcount. There is going to be much more technology in these organizations than ever before. And you don't want to have these huge governance organizations, more auditors, more et cetera, when you don't need to. So that is something to keep in mind too. And it enables rather than constrains is my last point. Like the amazing thing about AI is the ability to create. And what I'm fearful of is these governance models, we put in these old governance models, and you have to prove ROI, and you have to prove how you're using it and how the data is going to be used, and everything is good, right? That's all good. Foundationally, how we do it is the change here, but it really enables users to explore and to innovate and to be creative with the AI versus having a heavy-handed governance model. Okay, so here's the key. If you want to use governance as code, governance as infrastructure, you need to be thinking about how do you automate your compliance monitoring. How do you keep track of everything? How do you enforce policies at all times behind the scenes? How do you get real-time feedback? And how do you create audit trails automatically? There are different solutions that will help you do this behind the scenes, but if you are sitting in procurement or IT or another functional area and you're like, I really want to start using these AI tools, but I'm getting told that I'm only constrained to the Microsoft suite and I'm going to follow the rules and it's not working for me, I would be asking the questions internally around what is your governance model and how is it being built as code and as part of your infrastructure versus your legacy processes, policy, human-driven governance. And I think it's going to go much, much further. Now, while there are technologies that are doing this across the board, there's going to be a lot of governance built into the AI solutions themselves. So as you are looking for different AI technologies, they will have configuration settings that will allow certain data, not allow certain data, allow certain use cases, etc. So also be checking out the governance that's built into the AI solutions that are being selected right now. So with that said, I hope this is one area where we can really shift our thought process so we could get the creative, innovative use cases out there for AI while still balancing that governance, but moving from a human-driven governance program to governance as code, governance as infrastructure, and it's going to go a long way. With that said, I hope you liked this video. It is a pleasure to bring this information to you. And if you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next AI Reality Bytes.